Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football post-game show, even though it's a day late. We're going to recap last night's Monday night game, but first, here is the Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football Week 12 trivia question. It's a Washington football team trivia question. Who was the head coach for the Washington football team in 2005? I will have the answer later on the podcast. Well, the Washington football team beat the Seattle Seahawks 17-15 last night at FedEx Field in Washington for its third win in a row. Ron Rivera was left adrift without a kicker and felt like he had to go for it in every situation. The final roll of the dice by Riverboat Ron on 4th and goal opened the door for some heroics by Russell Wilson, but Kendall Fuller's interception on Seattle's two-point conversion allowed Washington to hold on to beat the Seahawks 17-15 Monday night for the team's third consecutive victory, as I said. It meant a lot just because of the way these guys fight, and said Riviera, who pointed and encouraged fans while walking off the field in spite of everything that's gone on during the game with injuries. We were able to come out on top, so good for these guys. After Taylor Heineke's fourth down pass to Logan Thomas at the goal line was ruled incomplete on a video review, Wilson led the Seahawks on a 10-play, 96-yard touchdown drive in just over 2 minutes. He connected with Freddie Swain on a 32-yard touchdown pass with 15 seconds left, but his two-point throw to Swain was picked up by Fuller, preventing Wilson from leading a memorable comeback on his 33rd birthday. You've seen Russell do that for the last 10 years, and you never count him out, Heineke said. He almost got another chance when it looked like Seattle, who is 3-8 now in the season, had recovered an onside kick, but the Seahawks were penalized for illegal formation on the first attempt and failed to recover the second. The last few minutes of the game shows that we have the right character of guys, Wilson said. That's what's special about this team. Just to believe that something great's going to happen. This loss likely ended Seattle's hopes for any long shot playoff bid, so we know the Seahawks are not going to make the playoffs this year. Wilson was 20 of 31 for 247 yards and 2 TD passes, but he missed several throws and lost 3 consecutive games for the first time as the Seahawks starting quarterback. The film doesn't lie, you know. Coach Pete Carroll said he missed some stuff. Washington 5-6 moved into the final NFC wildcard spot with the win. We've got some momentum right now, receiver Terry McLaurin said. J.D. McKissick caught a touchdown pass from Heineke, ran for another, and counted for 56 yards from a scrimmage against the team he broke into in the NFL with before being carted off with an undisclosed injury late in the game. He's one of the most versatile guys in the league, Riviera said of McKissick. He's a threat on first and second and third down. Heineke and company had to do everything in the second half without the possibility of an on-field goal, of a field goal, after kicker Joey Sly got injured at a hamstring late in the second quarter on an extra point attempt that was blocked and returned for 2 points. Heineke evaded a couple of potential sacks and outdueled Wilson in a matchup of QBs, going 27 of 35 for 223 yards with a touchdown throw to McKissick and an interception. A departure from each team's typical results in primetime. Washington won at home on Monday night for the third time in 20 tries since FedEx Field opened in 1997. Seattle, which entered with the NFL's best winning percentage on Monday night, fell to 11-4 in these situations in Carroll's 11 seasons as coach. Carroll's Seahawks have fallen out of playoff contention over the past 3 weeks. They were right in it against Washington when Rasheem Green blocked and recovered a returned the extra point attempt in the late in the first half and to tie the score at 9. But the offense went cold after halftime. Washington outrushed Seattle 152-34 and held 41 minute and 40 second to 18 minutes and 20 second edge in time of possession. The Seahawks were 4 of 12 on third down. It's just such an obviously issue for us not converting, Carroll said. We didn't run the ball well at all last night. Well, tonight and last night. But there's just so few plays that every single play counts so much in the end. Since the NFL allowed the defense to return a PAT for points in 2015, Green has become the first player to block, recover, and score on the same play, according to Sport Radar. It was the first defensive conversation in the league since 2019, the 11th over the past 11 seasons, with 7 coming on extra points. Now let's talk about the sprinkler time. A sprinkler burst in a suite during the first half. The second public water malfunction at Washington's home stadium this season. A pipe burst over fans in the opener against the Los Angeles Chargers on September 12th. Leap of fail. Everett attempted a Lambeau leap style jump into the stands after his touchdown catch in the first quarter. A fan in a burgundy number 52 Washington jersey pushed Everett off to continue the celebration on the field. Report in Spotlight. 2 former Washington employees used the occasion of the NFL's Inspired Change night to shine spotlight on their efforts to get the league to release the findings of an investigation into the team's workplace and misconduct over owner Dan Schneider was fined $10 million last summer upon the completion of the investigation, but a written report was never produced. We deserve to have the findings to be shown to the public. There's actual accountability, said Megan Imbert, who was wearing and the release the report sweatshirt in the team colors. There were injuries and for Seattle and Washington, and they had quite a few. But up next, the Seahawks will head to San Francisco, and they will take on the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday, and the Washington football team will visit the LA Raiders on Sunday. So this was just one of those games where the home team prevailed, and I'm going to give out the game balls right now. I think it's Taylor Heineke, 27 of 36 carries and attempts, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think it's AJ Gibson, or Antonio Gibson, excuse me. 29 attempts, 111 yards, no touchdown, and J.D. McKissick, 5 receptions, 26 yards, 1 touchdown. And we'll talk about the upcoming games for this week in just a moment. But first, here is the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 Week 12 Monday Night Football trivia question. Who was the head coach for the Washington football team in 2005? And if you said Joe Gibbs, you are correct. This was his second time with the Washington football team. The first time he won a couple of Super Bowls with the team in 1987 and 1991 seasons. I'll have another trivia question on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. We're going to look ahead now to Week 13. And Week 13 will kick off Thursday night with Thursday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys will travel to Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans to take on the Saints. And that'll be at 8:20 on Fox. And then on Sunday in the early games, the Browns are on a bye week this week, as you know. But in the early games, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to Atlanta to take on the Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The Arizona Cardinals, who will attempt to go to 10-2 on the season, will take on the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. The Los Angeles Chargers travel to Cincinnati to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Minnesota Vikings travel to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. The Indianapolis Colts travel to Houston to take on the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium in Houston. The New York Giants travel to Hard Rock Stadium in Miami to take on the Dolphins. The Philadelphia Eagles travel to MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey to take on the Jets. And in the late games, the Washington football team will take on the LA Raiders, as I said, in Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The Jacksonville Jaguars will take on the LA Rams at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. The Baltimore Ravens, who the Browns will face next week after the bye week, will travel to Heinz Field to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The San Francisco 49ers will travel to Seattle, and they will take on the Seattle Seahawks. The Denver Broncos will travel to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football at 8:20. And on Monday Night Football next week, the New England Patriots travel to Buffalo to Bills Stadium to take on the Buffalo Bills. Carolina, Green Bay, Tennessee, and the Browns are all on a bye week this week. So, and well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football post-game show. And I'll be back with the Thursday Night Football pregame show before the Dallas-New Orleans game and the post-game show to follow. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1, I'm done.